With the Tampa Bay Lightning being eliminated from the Stanley Cup Playoffs last night, what does the future behold for Steven Stamkos? Has he played his last games in Tampa, and is this the end of an era? We'll break it all down for you coming up on this episode of Hat-Trick HQ. But before we get into it, we gotta say, if you're one of the thousands of people watching these videos that aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure down below hit that subscribe button, because we're gonna be here every day talking about NHL news, updates, rumors, everything that's happening around the league. So make sure down below, hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's get right into the first topic of the video today, which is it Stammer's last days in Tampa? And yes, if you missed it last night, we see this very sad picture of Steven Stamkos being eliminated from the Stanley Cup Playoffs after losing 6-1 to the Florida Panthers. And a lot of people have been speculating today that this may have been Stamkos' last game in a Lightning uniform. And as we see here, Stamkos said, talking about the final minutes of the game and how he wasn't really in the lineup, he said, "Never crossed my mind. I'm not out there battling to try and help our team." He said, "I'm out there battling, trying to help our team win regardless. At the end of the game, we're trying to score. There's some pride on the line for our group." And we also get another quote from Stamkos here, talking about his extension that he was supposed to get this season. He said, "To be honest, I've been disappointed in the lack of talk in that regard." He said, "It was something that I expressed at the end of last year, that I wanted to get something done before training camp started. There haven't been any conversations. I'm ready whenever. So I guess that was something I didn't see coming." So this was obviously earlier in the season when he didn't get that extension. And then we also see another quote here from Brisebois. He says, "After the season, we're going to sit down and we're going to evaluate where we are as a team and where Steven is, and we'll see how we can make all the parts work together. My job is trying to build the team that has the greatest odds of winning a Stanley Cup. So it's never about one thing. It's always about the collective." And obviously, Steven Stamkos has been one of the best players in the 2010s, as we see here with all the players who have been drafted in that era. Steven Stamkos ranks second behind Alex Ovechkin in goals with 370. And if we take a look at the next one, he ranks fourth among those players in points with 720 points during his illustrious career in the NHL. And Mark, I mean, this is really sad to see. I don't think I can imagine seeing Steven Stamkos in another jersey than Tampa Bay Lightning. But at this point, it really looks like Steven Stamkos might be on his way out.
Yeah, that was just terribly sad to see him look so upset on the bench. And he can say what he wants. It wasn't crossing his mind. That screenshot you showed, I mean, you can see the Panthers fans kind of waving to him in the back. But it really was kind of disheartening, because I agree. Seeing Stammer somewhere other than Tampa, those things just go together. And as you showed there with some of those stats over the 2010s of his generation, I think he's so underrated. I'm willing to say he's probably, maybe the fourth best player of his generation. Well, fourth best forward, we'll say. I'll put Crosby, Ovi, and Patty Kane above him there. I don't know if you'd agree with that. There's some goalies and D-men you can throw in. But Stammer, if this was it in Tampa, I mean, what a time in Tampa it was, with a couple cups, all of the accolades. I mean, a 60-goal season, second most goals behind Ovi in the 2010s, and fourth in points. Just what an amazing player. And I mean, if it is time over in Tampa, I'm not even that big of a Tampa fan at all. Personally, I kind of dislike him. But Stammer is just such a classy guy, and it really was sad if this was the way that he does leave Tampa.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. I mean, it is an end of an era, really. I mean, if Steven Stamkos leaves Tampa this offseason, like you said, his career has been amazing there. He's done everything for that team. He's been the heart and soul of that team for so long, and he's won so many awards, Stanley Cups. I mean, that team was dominant. They were like the Golden State Warriors of hockey for a little bit there. So, I mean, this team, I mean, you can't take it away from them. Without Steven Stamkos, this team wouldn't be where they are today. So props to him for just, even battling through injury to come back to being a great player. I mean, he's done so much with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I mean, it's just great to see him maybe, maybe he takes another opportunity here to try to win a cup with another team, or to try to help a team that's kind of coming out of a rebuild here now, to try to help them out, give his mentorship and his veteran leadership to a young core, which would be nice to see as well. But like you said, you never want to see the end of an era in Tampa, because, I can't believe seeing Steven Stamkos in another uniform, but we've seen it already. We've seen it with Patrick Kane, leaving Chicago. Nobody ever expected that to happen, and that happened. So, it kind of seems like that's the direction that's going right now for Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, it just truly is crazy if this is his way out. And I like how you say it could be an end of an era in Tampa. That quote from Breezeball where he says, "Oh, I need to build, the best cup contention team. It's not about one guy, it's a collective thing." Are you kidding me? Steven Stamkos is a huge reason why they were cup contenders all those years. I know one of those years in the playoffs, he didn't play too much. I think that was the one where they beat Dallas the first time there. But either way, Stamkos would be a great piece to any sort of contending team. And like you say, he could be a great leadership piece for a team rebuilding that has loads of cap space. But if this is an end of an era in Tampa, they still have some great players. Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, of course, is ridiculous. If they keep Vasilevsky, Hedman on his day is still amazing. But Stamkos is the glue that holds it all together. So we really could see them kind of fall in the Atlantic standings if they choose not to continue having Steven Stamkos in their team.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that statement. Like you said, that quote from Rieswa saying they're trying to build the best collective they can. I can't imagine not having Steven Stamkos in that collective. He has so much experience in the playoffs and so much winning experience that you think that this would help this team. Obviously, they do need something to change there. Do I think it's letting Steven Stamkos walk? No. But, going down 4-1 in the series to Florida is obviously tough to handle, and I think that Steven Stamkos is going to get the brunt of this by, maybe not getting a contract back with Tampa. So we're going to get into our next part of the video here, which is talking about where will he end up. And yes, one team that has been in the mix here is the Anaheim Ducks. And as we see here, sometimes everyone gets what they want, and if Steven Stamkos chooses to ditch the west coast of Florida for the west coast of California, he'll get a bag full of money from Pat Verbeek and the Anaheim Ducks. And this one kind of really interests me a lot here, Mark, because this is a young team that are battling. They have a lot of great young talent there. Obviously, Trevor Zegras, a bunch of players there that in a couple of years' time are really going to be great in the NHL. And I think having a veteran there like Steven Stamkos could really help even Trevor Zegras out a lot at the same position. So I think this could be a great move for Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, no, it really could be. If Tampa Bay chooses not to re-sign Steven Stamkos, because I'm sure top of his list would be to stay with Tampa. I don't see why he wouldn't want that. But Anaheim, they're such an interesting team here because they have so much cap space, so much room to do whatever they want, really. But they're just kind of in a bad spot where, once again, this year, they just didn't do maybe as good as some fans thought. I know Zegras was hurt for pretty much the entire season, but Stamkos coming in instantly give him the captaincy. And look, he's done it in Tampa. He could do it in Anaheim, build a team up from almost nothing and build some great pieces around him. They could contend sooner than later, especially in a pretty weak Pacific division.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Stamkos has a few more good years left in him, and I think that putting those good years to work in a rebuilding franchise like the Anaheim Ducks, they're kind of coming out of the end of a rebuild now. They got their young core, so they just need these guys to develop and come into the NHL players that everybody expects them to be, and having a leader like Steven Stamkos would really help these guys break out into the NHL. We've seen it with Braden Point. This guy's phenomenal, and it's been all under the leadership of Steven Stamkos. You got to credit some of that to him for the player that he's become today. So hopefully we could see this happen with another young player like Trevor Zegras, because I think he needs someone to kind of lead him in the right direction, because he's already a phenomenal player. I just think he needs someone there to kind of steer the ship the right direction. And another team that kind of sparked my interest, we don't have it on our list here, was the Toronto Maple Leafs. Steven Stamkos is an Ontario boy. I think this could be a great move for Stamkos, and now with the Toronto Maple Leafs kind of in a sticky situation going into the night. If they lose in the first round to the Boston Bruins, I really expect Brad Treliving to do a major shakeup to this team.
No, of course. The core four in Toronto, I mean, we saw it in the last game. They had a bit of a disagreement. We saw Mitch Marner, throw a bit of a tantrum. Willie wasn't happy with him. Austin Matthews looked pretty PO'd as well. I totally imagine that Brad Treliving will totally just mess up the core four. At least one of them will have to go. It'll be interesting to see which one. Now, if at least one of them goes, I don't know if that's enough room to bring in Stamkos, but let's say two of them go. It's very realistic that Stamkos could come home and maybe on a bit of a hometown discount as well. But imagine the Leafs power play with Stamkos on one side and Matthews on the other. I can't think of a better situation for a free agent to go into. Now, you think back to when the Leafs signed John Tavares, of course. There was talks that, maybe Stamkos would have been the better move here. Well, now you can have both of them, and maybe they are getting up in age, but it would still be unreal to see them playing together. Throw in Matthews in there, and look, the Leafs keep their window of contention wide open by signing Stamkos.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, there's definitely going to be a major shakeup coming up, and obviously you, as the Calgary Flames guy, knows what Brad Treliving can do. So I think if they do go out in the first round, if they don't come back in the series, there's going to be, like I've said in a previous video, I think Brad Treliving is going to do a lot of things that people don't like, but are really going to help this team. And I think maybe bringing in Steven Stamkos, he's already made his money. I think he could take a little bit of a cut to come to Toronto, his hometown team. And I think this guy could really be good for these young stars that, like we've seen the frustration boil over for this team. And maybe having, obviously, Tavares there and then Steven Stamkos. These are two great leaders, two great veterans, two great players of their time. So this could really help out the young core that the Maple Leafs have going right now. And I'd really love to see this move happen. But there's another team we're going to talk about today, and that is the Chicago Blackhawks. We see it says Stamkos has gotten used to a certain level of winning, so while the Ducks may be unlucky due to a lack of recent success, they're not the only lower tier team that may have a chance to catch the 11-time playoff participants' eye. It can be argued that the Chicago Blackhawks have even more going for them, and wouldn't it be great to see Steven Stamkos and Connor Bedard on the same team? I think this could be really fun as well. We kind of seen that with them trying to bring in Corey Perry, trying to bring in that leader for Connor Bedard, and then obviously all that stuff went down, which we're not going to get into today. So maybe they're looking to do this. Maybe they can pay Steven Stamkos a little bit more of a bag than what other teams are going to get him, just to come in and maybe mentor this young guy in Connor Bedard, the future of the NHL.
Yeah, this one really, really intrigues me because it would be going to, like Anaheim, another real workshop of a place to try and build it up again. But what's very interesting, what I've been seeing in, the rumor mill across social media and stuff of hockey fans is Chicago, they have Bedard, bring in Stamkos, and then bring back Patty Kane. Think of a better way for someone to come into their NHL career. He's already, as of today, been nominated for the Calder Trophy. Now you bring in Stamkos and Kane, his numbers could absolutely skyrocket, and the Chicago Blackhawks could really, really accelerate their rebuild and could find themselves in a playoff spot really sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. And what he's done this season with pretty much nothing is pretty phenomenal. So, I mean, imagine if you just put a few pieces around this guy. This Chicago Blackhawks team has such a bright future with this guy at the helm of it. So, maybe bringing in Stamkos, Patty Kane could potentially push the Blackhawks up the standings and maybe into a wildcard spot. That would be really interesting to see those two guys go there, which I'd love to see happen. I'd love to see Patty Kane back in the Blackhawks jersey, and Steven Stamkos going over there to join them would be really fun to see. But there is one last team we're going to talk about today, and that is a team that's kind of on the brink of the playoffs. They made it this year up against the Vancouver Canucks right now, and that is the Nashville Predators. They say, what do you know, y'all? It's another stop on the Stamkos leaves Tampa and joins up with some old buddies on the tour. This time it'll bring surefire Hall of Famer to, again, non-traditional hockey market of Tennessee, where the Nashville Predators will be another intriguing destination. And if we take a look here, an arrival in the Volunteer State would mean a reunion with former former Tampa Bay teammates Ryan McDonagh and Luke Schenn, who obviously were dealt last year, and they're both signed, or McDonagh signed through 2026, and Schenn is there for the same term after post-Lightning stops with the Canucks and Toronto Maple Leafs. So this could be a really interesting move that I kind of really like. I think, Nashville's kind of right there. Like, they just need something to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. Obviously, they're having a pretty good series against the Vancouver Canucks, so maybe adding a veteran like Steven Stamkos could really put this team over the edge. Obviously, they got great talent there, like Philip Forsberg,
Roman Josi.
There we go. Obviously, they got these great talents there. UC Saros in the goal, who has been involved in a lot of rumors recently, but I think maybe bringing in a veteran like Steven Stamkos could really help this team out.
Yeah, and Steven Stamkos, he's proven that he can put the puck in an empty net, unlike what Colton Sissons did and completely cost his team the last game against the Canucks. But I really like from that article the one part where it says going to another non-traditional hockey market, because Stamkos has done it in Tampa. I mean, that's really not the biggest hockey market. I know they went on a run in 2004. The puck was in. The Flames won the cup that year. We don't need to get into that. But Stamkos really did just rejuvenate hockey within Tampa. Obviously, Marty St. Louis did his stuff there and was great for a really long time. Stamkos made sure that the Lightning stayed relevant, and the city of Tampa were behind them. Nashville, they have a hockey team really behind them, and I think the city loves the Predators a lot, but bringing in just a surefire actual superstar, because I can't really think of Nashville ever having one of those. So to bring in one and just have that scoring power would really make them contenders in a very tough Central Division. But they've shown they went on that crazy run this year after they weren't allowed to go to the U2 concert or whatever it was down in Vegas. And they went on a crazy run. And throwing in Stamkos to that, a guy who can just almost guarantee goals, would be so good. And he already knows some of the players there. I think arguably this could be the best fit out of all of them for Steven if he doesn't re-sign with Tampa.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. I think that of all the teams we kind of talked about, this is the best fit for sure. I think they have so much great talent there that there's just one guy away, I think, from being that team who could be the next Dallas Stars and go on a run to the Stanley Cup Finals. So I think that maybe adding Steven Stamkos, maybe throwing a bit more money at him to get him there could really help out. And like you said, he's done it in Tampa. He went to a non-hockey market and made it a hockey market. I mean, Nashville's not really it is not really a hockey market, but I mean, this playoffs, the stadium has been packed. So I mean, you can't say the attendance is low there. So I think adding Steven Stamkos just would get more eyes on Nashville, and I'm really here for it, because I think Nashville has kind of been underappreciated for a really long time, and they've really had some great rosters there over the years. So I hope Steven Stamkos goes to Nashville and brings a cup there. But we want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you think? Where do you think Steven Stamkos is going to end up? Let us know down below in the comment section. Me, personally, I hope it's the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm sure Mark hopes it's the Calgary Flames. So we'll see what happens here. But Nashville is probably the best fit. We'll see what happens. Let us know down below in the comment section. We're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy Pat G Mafia. He says, "Good show, Casey. Sorry for being quiet this week. Samsonov broke my heart. Can't give up." And I know I've seen a lot of you Toronto Maple Leafs fans down in the comment section. Pat G and Daniel, two big day one supporters here on the channel. I mean, Pat G, heart goes out to you, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, with the Leafs struggling once again, I feel for all Leafs fans out there. I mean, Samsonov clearly just wasn't that guy. I do feel for you as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens tonight as they go into a do-or-die game. So we'll see if Samsonov's back in. Maybe we'll see Woll make a start. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see. And we're here. We're praying for you tonight, Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Hopefully you can get that win. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 3,500 subscribers here on the channel. So if you're looking for a place for daily NHL content, you found the right place here at Hat-Trick HQ. So go down below, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Mark. Keep your stick on the ice.